How's going guys, welcome to the channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Hachisaku-sama? Part 1. Huge shout out to Pokeboy24 for this story. If you wants to see awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. The light of the morning sun shined through the window and hit the face of the person sleeping in bed. DRRR dang son, 10 more minutes. The person groaned in a male's voice while nuzzling deeper in his pillows. Popo might as well get up love, or we'll miss opening hours again. A soft gentle woman's voice said, getting up as the guy's face was removed from his pillows. Getting out of bed to stretch was a woman, a very big woman. She was a solid 8 feet in height with beautiful pale skin that shines in the sunlight, long flowing black hair reaching down her waist, long and luscious arms and leg, enormous full K-cup wrists that don't even sag, a very slim waist and wide curvy hips with a soft rear. Oh yeah, thanks for the reminder Hachi-Hime. The man said as he sat himself up with the covers covering the lower half of his body. This man looks to be in his early 20s with short spiky sun-kissed blonde hair, blue eyes and whisker-like birthmarks on his face. His height is 6 ft 4 inches with a nice muscular build with nice strong arms, a nice chiseled chest with a large scar in the center, and hard 6-pack abs. Anyway, today's is the day huh? Can't believe it been 10 years already. Hachisaku said as her husband also got up to stretch. Right Naru-kun? She asked as she picked up a photo on the nightstand and smiled at it, remembering that happy. Their wedding day. The picture shows a 16-year-old Naruto with a big smile on his face while wearing a tuxedo, standing to his bride Hachisaku, who was wearing her white sundress, since no wedding dress was made for her, but was wearing wedding veil over her head while holding a bouquet. That photo was taken 2 months after moving here to Japan away from the elemental nations, along with a few others, after 2 years of traveling. But today wasn't that anniversary, no. Today marked the day him and his wife first met, the day he was banished. Flashback, 10 years ago. I can't believe this crap. A blonde 12-year-old boy with whisker marks on his cheeks wearing a orange and blue jumpsuit cried out in anger as he continued stomping through the forest. I did my job, to bring that funking team back to the village, and what do I get? Banishment. Just because I roughed him up a little, they're the ones who told me to use force if necessary. Naruto screamed in anger before punching a nearby tree. Saying that I almost killed him, almost. That bastard only had chakra exhaustion and minor bruising. I'm the one with a funking large hole in his chest. He continued to rant about this damn treatment. Naruto's whole life was completely unfair in all things from his days in the academy to his genin career, and now it's all over because those stupid civilian and elders sucking up to the stupid Uchiha brat he calls a teammate. Hearing rustling coming from some nearby bushes, Naruto turned and looked with a blank look. You can come out now Kira. He said as a woman came out of the bushes. The woman looks to be around 19 or 20 years old with pale white skin, long inky black hair reaching her lower back, and glowing yellow eyes with serpent-slit pupils. She was an even 6 feet in height with a light muscular tone and healthy hergless figure with large D-cup wrists, a slim waist and nice curvy hips. Naruto then just face-palmed with a groan. The reason was simple, because Kira was naked, again. Kira, how many times do I need to tell you about walking around naked? Naruto said, a blight blush on his face, as he was trying hard not to look at her bare body that shines in the moonlight. Sorry Naru-sama, but Kira was wearing clothes until they got dirty from Kira killing root men. Kira said as she licked her arm, getting the remaining blood into her mouth, as they both heard the wind blowing through the trees. Now Naruto wasn't the idiot everyone thought he was, for that was the mask he made to keep the civilians off his back. And facing against Sasuke at the vote was when he decided to take that mask off. And the only person who knew about it was Kira, a genetic clone and killing machine created by Orochimaru that Naruto found when he went into the Forest of Death when he was 8 years old and found an abandoned lab. Once finding Kira inside a grass container, the pod from the first Pokemon movie. Muto Strikes Back, Naruto decided to open it. Once opened, she suddenly pounced on him with a menacing glaze. Back then Naruto thought that she was going to kill him, which he feared greatly, but was surprised and a little embarrassed when she pulled him close to her wet naked body before sniffing and licking him. Next thing he knows, he has a killer snake woman as his bodyguard. Po 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 po, a strange sound whispered in the wind, causing Naruto to be a little on edge before pulling 2 kunes out of his leg pouch and throwing one to Kira. Stay on guard Kira. Naruto said, looking around as the wind continued to blow. Po 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 po, the sound was starting to get louder and closer, causing a small sliver to go up their spines. Pra-boom. Po 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 po, in a crash of lightning, a large figure appeared right in front of the two and causing them to jump in surprise. Who are you miss? Naruto asked nervously as he felt a little intimidated by this person. The person was a very tall woman with long black hair, pale white skin, long toned arms and legs, a very huge bust that far surpassed the Hokage, slim narrow waist and wide curved hips. The top part of her face was covered by her kusa hat while she was wearing a white sundress as she just smiled at him lovingly. "Hello Naruto-kun, I'm Hachisaku. I've been waiting for you," she simply said as she walked towards him. Since that day of the QB attack, Hachisaku has been watching Naruto life since he was born. When he was thrown out of the orphanage when he was 4 years old, she killed the staff and children that had lived there. When he was almost killed by that group of ninja near some hills while he was in the academy, she killed the students who tricked him into doing so. From his first steps towards becoming a genin, Hachisaku been watching over him until he was of proper age, so she could take him away from this cesspool called a village. She originally wanted to take him, well the white hair pervert took him on a training trip, but looked like Konoha had made things easier for her. Looking over towards Kira, Hachisaku saw this as a chance to test her theory of turning human into yokai. Kira wasn't the only one who knew he wore a mask. Reaching her arm out and placing her hand on Naruto's head, Hachisaku's eyes began glowing. "Sleep," she said as Naruto's eyes also glowed before falling unconscious. Quickly lifting him into her arms, Hachisaku looked over at Kira, the pale snake-like girl hissing as she got ready to strike her. "Kira don't know why you're taking Naru-sama, but Kira won't let you hurt her master and mate," she hissed threateningly, her yellow serpent eyes glowing harshly. Raising an eyebrow, Hachi couldn't help but smirk as Kira quickly dashed towards her. As Kira was about to slash her with a kunai, Hachisaku grabbed her wrist in a strong grip, causing her to drop the sharp weapon. Pulling the pale-skinned clone to eye level, the 8-feet-tall yokai looked right into her eyes, dark blue glazing deep into yellow, as if reading her solar character. "Oh yes, you'll do nicely," Hachisaku said with a smirk as she started channeling her yokai energy, while also drawing the QB chakra from the 13-year-old in her arm and sent it right into Kira. Ooh, Kira started releasing a pleasurable moan, despite the extreme pain circling inside her body, as her entire form was encased in a chakra-like cocoon. After a few minutes the chakra dispersed leaving an unconscious Kira who went through a few changes. Kira's inky black hair paled greatly looking more of a light gray, her ears now long and pointy, a pale white transparent reptilian head frill. Her face pushed out a little bit to look like a small muzzle, with 2 large fangs sticking out from her upper lips, her nails turned into claws with her arms from her wrists to her shoulders now covered with pale white scales, and her legs now merged into a 6-feet-long serpent tail, covered with the same color scales as her skin and arms. "Mashira Hebi, very interesting," Hachisaku said to herself before draping the albino lamia over her shoulders and started walking towards her next destination. Flashback over. Since that day, Hachisaku explained to Naruto about who she is and why she took him. After seeing her reasoning, he decided to stay with her since he hardly have any care for Konoha, except maybe a few, any more so him. Her and Kira traveled around the elemental nation for a few years, as a lot has happened during that time. From traveling around the nation to getting married, from gathering and turning women to having children. But it wasn't long until Konoha started hunting Naruto down, since his banishment has caused some of the villages he helped to cut connections with his old village to Akatsuki hunting down the Bujas. Not wanting his new family to get hurt, Naruto decided to move them to Japan in a city called Osaka, Saitama, so him and Hachisaku can't continue raising their family. After moving to Osaka, with all the girls looking like their old human selves, Naruto decided to buy a large house outside the city near the coastal area, enrolled their daughters in school, and decided to open up a family business that been open for nearly 5 years. "You can come out from under the bed now, Kira-chan," Naruto, now fully dressed, said seeing a long, large white scaly tail under his and Hachi's bed, which was big enough to hold 8 people. The tail then slithered under the bed as the Shirahebi came out from under it. "Morning Naru-sama, Hachi-sama. I hope last night was to your liking," Kira said respectfully towards the husband and wife, as the once former clone had changed a lot through the years. Her hair grown longer that it now reached past her hips, her height grew several more inches, making her 6 ft 10 inches, her upper body gained a thick lean muscular tone, thanks to both training and her new diet, her D-cup bust grown too into a pair of firm perky eye cups, and finally her tail has a thick blade-like tip at the end, think Serviper from Pokemon, as her hands were placed in front of her. But one thing about Kira stayed the same, she was completely naked, except the blood-red collar around her neck with the pendant, having the white Uzumaki swirl on it with her name on the front, while Naruto and Hachisaku's names were on the back as her owners. When Hachisaku first turned Kira into a yokai Shirahebi, she didn't take into the account of Kira's DNA, contained that of several types of deadly snakes. So over the years while traveling around the elemental nations, Kira evolved into a new deadly subspecies Naruto and Hachi decide call Shinoramia, the White Death Lamia. "Well, ready to wake everyone up Hachi-hime?" Naruto asked, looking over to his goddess of a wife. Of course Naruto-kun. Hachisaku, also dressed for the day, smiled at her husband lovingly while petting Kira, causing the albino serpent yokai to hiss happily as they walked out of their bedroom and head towards to the kitchen downstairs. 45 minutes later. After cooking several dishes, it wasn't long until the smell of breakfast woke everyone up and entering the dining area. First coming to get their raiment were their daughters Tiko Uzumaki, Sadako Uzumaki and Kayako Uzumaki. Tiko Uzumaki is the eldest daughter at 19 years old with long black hair, her father's blue eyes, 2 whisker-like marks on her face, and a lovely ear-to-ear smile as she happily ate her ramen. She was wearing a beige coat over her nightgown, which hugged her still-growing figure like her E-cup wrists and soft curvy hips. Sadako and Kayako Uzumaki are near-identical twins being 13 years old with black hair, with Sadako having Naruto's blonde streaks in her hair and blue eyes, while Kayako have red streaks like her deceased grandmother Kushina and her mother's dark blue eyes. Both also have pale skin like Hachisaku while wearing matching white morning dresses that hug their developing figures since they now started going through puberty, with firm B-cups and slim hips. Next came the women living with them, the same women Naruto and Hachisaku met, turned, and tamed during their travels in the nation before moving here a few years ago. They're also Naruto's other wives, servants of the Uzumaki family, and staff of their family restaurant. The first woman is Sasame Uzumaki, formerly Fuma, the first woman they met on their travel, and the second person Hachisaku turned. Sasame is a 24-year-old avian tengu that 5 ft 9 inches in height with long light orange hair with 2 bangs draping over her shoulder with her face looking like a hawk but a bit more feminist. Her entire body is covered with light orange feathers with giant hawk wings on her back, her hands, forearms, feet and forelegs are covered in scales, while her nails are sharp talons, and a large fan-like tail feathers coming from her tailbone. Finally, her body is very womanly with a lean tight muscle tone, very perky F-cup wrists, a slim toned waist with a light set of abs, and slim toned hips. Right now she is wearing a loose robe revealing her black lacy bra and panties as she was eating some steamed rice with a side of grilled fish. The next woman is Amaru Uzumaki, a fellow orphan like Naruto, as well as the third human his wife turned. Amaru is a 25-year-old papillon that's 5 ft 4 inches in height with long reddish-brown hair, the same style as her tengu sister mate, with 2 antennas stick through her hair. Her skin is a reddish hue with large black butterfly wings on her back with red, cyan blue and greenish cream patches pattern on them. Her body is slimming plump with round and perky E-cup wrists, a slim waist with a flat-toned stomach, curvy plump hips with a light bubble butt and long slimming legs. Right now she's wearing a dark blue shorts bra clinging against her ample bust and matching underwear, hugging her hips while using her straw-like tongue to drink a fresh tea with honey. Up next is Isaribi Uzumaki, a woman treated the same way Naruto was and used as an illegal experiment by a man who Hachisaku killed personally because she felt like he insulted the pure-blooded Kaima yokai. After that, she turned Isaribi into a pure yokai. Isaribi is 26 years old with her height be 5 ft 10 with short purple hair with short bangs, framing the sides of her head with a large sea green and pale greenish cream fin on her head. Her body is covered in sea green scales while her face, hands, underarms, chest and back are her legs being covered with pale greenish cream color scales. She has 2 markings under her eyes, fins on her arms and legs, her fingers being webbed clawed hand and her feet being webbed 3-toed claws. Her figure is lightly muscular with huge G-cup wrists, a toned waist with a light 6-pack abs and wide strong hips. Right now she's wearing a ocean blue bra and matching panties as she ate her breakfast of rice and smoked unagi. Next up was Raizetsu Uzumaki, former prisoner and most royal servant of the family. Raizetsu is a 28-year-old Ryujin being 6 ft 5 inches in height with long waist-length white hair with a fringe covering the right side of her face, with deer-like horns on her head and small fangs coming from her upper lip. Her skin is matcha in color with her ears being pointy. She has moonlight silver scales marking her face under her eyes, clawed hands and feet with her arms and legs being covered with scales and a long tail with a tuft of white hairs at the end. Her figure has a lean muscular tone with large soft H-cup wrists, a slim tightly toned waist with a visible set of 6-pack abs and slim toned hips connected to long luscious legs. For now she's wearing a robe tied clothes but was a little loose showing her lacy fire red bra and thong as she was eating some rice with a side of grilled fish and some morning tea. Next is Shizuka Uzumaki, former kunoichi of the Nadeshiko village and Naruto's second husband, thanks to the law of her village. Shizuka is a 25-year-old Amazoness succubus with her height being 6 ft 10 inches with long black hair and a Haim style reaching her waist. Her skin is tanned with 2 horns sticking out from her head, a pair of black and green color wings on her back, and a long tail with a spear-shaped tip. Her figure have the classic Amazonian muscular built with a large pair of I-cup wrists, tightly toned waist with hard 6-pack abs, and curvy toned hips with a tight ass. And like Amaru, she's wearing a black sports bra with green linings and matching shorts underwear as she was eating some beef ramen. And finally was Samui Uzumaki, former Kunoichi of Kumo and most mature servant of the family. Samui is a 29-year-old Oni standing at 6 ft 10 inches in height with short blonde hair in a bob style. Her skin is light blue with two small horns sticking from her forehead. Her figure has a slim sturdy muscular built, her large firm J-cup freest, slim toned waist with a six-pack of abs, curvy toned hips and a firm ass. Currently she's wearing a white bra and panties as she was having a cup of coffee. Once seeing that everyone had finished breakfast, Naruto looked over at his three lovely daughters. "So Tiko, Sada, Kaya, any plans for the summer now that school is over?" Naruto asked while collecting dishes while Hachisaku was preparing three other bowls. "Well, you know me, Dad, I'm going to be working with you and Mother at the restaurant until I leave for Yakai Academy for the start of the school year," Tiko said, wiping her mouth since she also has her father's eating habit before getting out of her seat. "Well, I'm going to get a shower and get dressed since we have to open in an hour," she added before heading towards her room to freshen up for the day. "As for us, we have no idea," Sadako said as her twin sighed. "We have no idea of what to do since things have been pretty lax for the past few years," Kayako said calmly since she did have a point. So far they hadn't gotten any attacks from either Konoha, Iwa, the Yakai comedy or anything for 2 whole years now. While staring at his twin daughters, Naruto suddenly had a thought that they both might be happy about. "How about both of you spend some time with me, your mother and Tiko-chan working at the restaurant? That way we can all spend some more time together as a family," he said as they were thinking about the idea when Hachisaku decided to speak. "I think your father is right on this, girls. Plus this will help you both branch out a little and probably make some new friends," the 8-feet woman said while placing the bowls down. "Okay, Mother, plus it's been a while since we've seen the place and I don't want to spend most of the summer cooped up inside," Sadako exclaimed happily while Kayako nodded in agreement as both sisters left to their room to get dressed. "Okay, and you girls go hit the onsen real quick and get ready for work today," Naruto said looking at the others as they gave an okay Naru-sama Naru-kun before leaving the room to go take a warm bath and put on their uniforms. "Okay, now that the family been feed, time for the pets," Hachisaku said before whistling, causing Kira and 2 others to enter the room, one being a black cat with golden eyes and the other being a red-orange fox with black markings around its eyes as they each got their respective bowl. Kira happily began eating her bowl of roasted boar as Naruto and Hachisaku looked over towards the cat and fox. "Now Yori-chan and Kura-chan, you both have to be so shy around Kira-chan. Well, unless you do something to provoke her," Naruto said as the cat meowed happy before transforming while the fox was against it but transformed anyway as 2 beautiful women were in their place. Iruchi is a 28-year-old Nico and family pet that Naruto and Hachisaku adopted from a pet center for their daughter's birthday as both Sadako and Kayako loved very much as she them. Iruchi is 5 ft 4 inches in height with long black hair reaching her waist with a flirtatious expression on her face. Her skin is dark with black cat-like hands and feet with fur reaching up to her elbows and knees and a long black tail spouting from her tailbone. Her figure has a lean muscle tone with soft perky H-cup freest, a slim waist with a toned stomach and curvy hips with a nice toned butt. Around her neck she has a purple collar just like Kira as she enjoyed her bowl of her mistress's milk. Kurama is a 29-year-old kitsune, as well as the once great and mighty Kyuubi before Naruto and Hachisaku broke her, and Naruto and Hachisaku's other personal pet. Kurama is 5 ft 9 inches in height with long wild-looking red-orange hair reaching her lower back, with black marking around her eyes and whisker marks on her face. Her skin tone is lightly tanned with hands and feet being fox-like with fur reaching her elbow and knees, and 9 furry tails coming from her tailbone. Her figure is lean and muscular with large round eye-cup freests, slim-toned waist with lightly toned abs and wide slimming hips with a bubble butt. Around her neck is the same color as Kira and Yorichi, only wide in color as she was eating a bowl of red bean soup. 30 minutes later. "Okay, is everyone ready?" "Yes, Father Naru-sama." Everyone was dressed and ready for the day with Tiko wearing a dark blue dress shirt and skirt with her trench coat over her outfit with white socks and black shoes. She was also wearing a genjutsu to cover her slit scars. Sadako and Kayako are wearing matching outfits consist of a white blouse under a crimson sweater vest, light blue shorts, white socks and black shoes. They also had their hair tied with Sadako having pigtails and Kayako in a high ponytail. Now Sasum, Amaru, Isaribi, Raizetsu, Shizuka and Samui were wearing their work uniform consisting a red kipao dress reaching around their knees, thanks to the seal Naruto sewed into them, so they fit the girls' forms and body types, with white linings around the edges and a white Uzumaki symbol on the back. "Okay then, let go everyone," Naruto said, about to activate the teleportation seal to take them to the restaurant before pausing his action. "Oh right, Kira, you're in charge until we get back, okay?" He added, looking over towards the three house pets as the Shiramia looked up from the futon she was laying on and nodded at him before laying back down. "Okay, now let's go," Naruto said as they all disappeared in a flash of light towards their business. Soon after flashing inside their restaurant, Sadako and Kayako looked around with stars in their eye as the place looked just like they remember it. The interior of the place was nice and spacious with 12 feet high ceiling, allowing customers as taller than their mother, with booths, tables and a bar next to the double doors leading into the kitchen. The walls were painted red and orange with designs of animals like foxes, cats, rabbits, etc. with a few white swirls over every booths. On the right and left sides are booths with dark brown oak tables around the space covered by red tablecloths with gold lining and matching wooden chairs. The bar at the back is made of black wood with 2 workstations and of sake bottles between them with 7 bar stools in front. Both twins were snapped from their daze as they heard their parents addressing their aunt stepmothers what they'll be doing. "Okay, last week Sasam-chan and Ryu-chan worked the bar," Naruto said while looking down at the clipboard in his hands. "So both Samui and Isaribi will be doing bar work this week while Shizuka handle the door," Hachisaku said as she looked over towards her eldest daughter. "Tiko, you will be with me and your father in the kitchen," she said as Tiko nodded before heading towards the kitchen along with Naruto to get everything prepped. "And what do me and Kayane get to do, mother?" Sadako asked while her twin looked over one of the menus and saw something that caught her interest. "Well, Sada-chan, you and Kaya-chan will be helping me manage the place during hours to deal with customers causing problems, people trying to break in to steal ingredients or our tea and sake, and finally our rival competitors trying to either shut us down, buy the place to tear it down, or wanting to steal our customers and recipes for themselves," Hachisaku said before seeing her other daughter Kayako looking at the menu. "Hey mother, can I ask you something?" Kayako asked before looking up to the tall woman. "Sure sweetie, what's on your mind?" Hachisaku said while her third daughter handed her the menu. "What are these Red Dragon Chicken Challenge and Bottle of Fire Challenge all about?" Kayako asked confused while her mother answered her curiosity. "Well Kayako, the Red Dragon Chicken is some grilled chicken sticks coated in some of the special hot sauce your father and Aunt Cora made when we first got this place up and running. And it's a challenge because the sauce is so hot, it can set the consumer's body completely on fire as well as burn their clothes off," Hachisaku said wickedly while a smirk appeared on her face. "But that's only happen when they drink the sauce only. So far only a few managed to complete the challenge and won a free dessert," she added before walking towards the kitchen. "But what about the Bottle of Fire Challenge, Ka-san?" Sadako asked her mother, also taking interest in the menu challenges like her sister, before entering the kitchen to see Naruto and Tiko, along with a few clones, heat up the stove and grill, as well as prepping the meat and vegetables. Now the Bottle of Fire Challenge is a drink challenge where the customer have to drink a whole bottle of fire sake, Hachisaku said before looking back at her young twins. Of course, both challenges have the strict age requirements of 21 years old. So well, the one who complete the Dragon Chicken Challenge gets a free dessert, the one who complete the Bottle of Fire Challenge wins a coupon for a free meal on their next visit here, Naruto said as he handed them a bandana to wear. Sadako and Kayako just looked at the cloth in confusion before they noticed their father, his clones, and their older sister wearing reddish-orange bandanas with the same white whirlpool symbol in the center around their heads. Wrapping the piece of clothing on their heads, the entire family were all ready to open for the day. A few hours later. "Hello and welcome to the Uzumaki family restaurant Shiro Warpuru, White Whirlpool. Please follow me to your table." Sasam greeted as the orange Tengu lead a couple to their table. Once the place opened up, customers of both human and monster species came flying through the doors, some of them literally, as Samui and Isaribi worked the bar getting drinks ready to serve, while Shizuka kept rival competitor employees and sabotages out by using her hypnosis abilities on the humans, while using her superior strength on the monsters. While in the kitchen, Naruto, his clones, and his daughter Tiko were getting several dishes ready to be sent out, while Sadako and Kayako were placing the dirty dishes onto their father's dishwashing seal that not only washed the dishes, but also dry them in the minimum of 15 minutes. The orders for booth number 4 and table number 8 are ready," Naruto called out as the Papillon woman flew in, picked up the trays, and flew out to bring them to their respective table and booth. "Hey dad, can we ask you something?" Sadako asked as she and Kayako removed the clean dishes from the dishwasher seal before looking over towards the blonde cheffiner. "Of course Ada-chan, Kaya-chan. What do you need to ask?" Naruto said as he finished filling 3 bowls of miso ramen before turning to his daughters. "Well, 2 things actually," Kayako said before looking at a poster on the wall, since she also seen it in the window near the front door. "First, what is with that poster since we didn't see that the last time we were here?" She asked, pointing towards the poster with a picture of a black hair woman wearing glasses and a government business suit with bold words under it that says banned for life. On the bottom. Looking over towards the poster, Naruto sighed while Tiko face palmed as they remembered that the twins were on a weekend camping trip with their class that day, so they didn't know they started a banned list after the Smith incident. Oh yeah, that was made while you two were on your class weekend camping trip 2 years ago, so after a customer refused to pay for the umpteenth time, we had to put her on our banned for life list. Naruto said as the twins read the poster. Agent Kuroko Smith. Banned for eating and refusing to pay for meals, and oh yikes. That's a lot of money. Just how many meals did she dine and dashed on? Kayako questioned as her older sister answered her. Well, for herself, about 28 cups of tea, 17 saucers of sake, 18 bowls of ramen, 8 bowls of rice, 12 plates of chicken sticks. Okay, we get it, she ordered a lot and hadn't paid for any of them. Kayako said, now seeing the reason this woman was banned from their family business. But won't she just arrest since she an agent dad? Sadako asked since this woman was banned 2 years ago, well worried that this Smith person would try something. Nah, me and your mother know some people in the government she works for, since she's hardly those her job there anyway. Though, she had tried to sneak back in for food every now and again. Naruto said before seeing Raizetsu come in and asked for an order of 2 beef ramen and a plate of shrimp scampi as the blonde went to start making the order. So how long had she been not paying for her meals before her ban? Sadako asked before hearing their Aunt Ryu answer her question. Oh, she been doing this 6 months after the place opened until 2 years ago. The silvery white hair Ryujin answered before Naruto handed her the order and went to bring the customers their food. So what's your order thing you wanted to ask? Naruto asked, wiping his hands and head of sweat as he looked towards his daughters. When will Aunt Korra, Aunt Yakumo, Aunt Karen and Aunt Fu be home? They've been gone for nearly 2 weeks. Kayako asked since they hadn't seen the other members of their family for a while. Not to mention why they had to bring Yujito-chan with them also. Sadako asked also since she loved the family's first pet cat before getting Yoruichi, well both Nico women became fast friends during that week. Well, I know the trip from here to Nami would take a few weeks, so they should be back home around the end of the week with the stuff I asked Tazuna Jiji to hold for us. Naruto said before his goddess of a wife walked in. Naruto-kun, we have another Code Smith happening. Hachisaku said with a blank expression on her face, while Naruto just groaned in annoyance before looking over towards the clock on the wall. 4:55 PM looks like she came before 5 o'clock for once. He muttered to himself before following his wife out of the kitchen, while their daughters decided to watch from the door as they saw a group of 5 women wearing suits. Standing on the far right was a woman with spiky red and black hair, pale skin, and eyes being 2 separate colors, yellow for the right and green for the left. Her height stands at 5 ft 3 inches, while her figure is slim and curvy, with a pair of large E-cup wrists, while her face has a fanged grin. This woman was Zambina, MONS trigger happy psycho zombie. Standing beside the zombie was a childlike woman with long silver hair that looked to swirl around her body, yellow eyes and dark color skin. Her height is 4 ft 2 inches while her figure is petite that you could say she's a loli. This is Doppel, the shape-shifting trickster of the group, as well as a mistress of disguise. Standing at the far right was a woman with long blonde hair, red eyes, tan skin and a large red horn on her forehead. She was the tallest of the group being 7 ft 5 inches in height, almost as tall as Hachisaku, with a nice curvy figure with a large pair of pea-cup wrists, while she was eating a plate of dangos. This is Tayuya, a sweet kind-hearted ogre and muscle of the group. Standing beside the ogre is a woman with short purple hair and a bob cut style and a single large purple eye. She's the second shortest of the group being 4 ft 11 inches in height with a petite figure with a nice pair of B-cup wrists. This is Minako, a Mana-I and the team's sniper. However, it was the one in the middle that caused the husband and wife owners to groan in annoyance. The woman was the only human of the group with long black hair and brown eyes under a pair of sunglasses. Her height being average, reaching Tayuya's lower chest with a slim curvy figure with a pair of D-cup wrists and long luscious legs. This woman was Kuroko Smith, leader of MON and coordinator of the cultural exchange program made nearly 3 years ago. Kuroko Smith. Naruto started, crossing his arms in front of his torso as he stared the woman right in the eyes. Naruto Uzumaki. Smith stated, also crossing her arms in front of her chest as she also stared the blonde chef in the eyes. All the customers looked over at the two as they started hearing Western showdown music playing out of nowhere. Thought we made it clear you were banned from here the last time you tried to sneak back in. Hachisaku said, placing her hands on her hips as she stared down the shorter black hair woman. While the three were busy with their staring contest, the 4 members of MON looked over at the 8 feet tall woman with different thoughts and expressions on their faces. Zambina looked at Hachisaku with a big toothy grin on her face while her hands were hovering over her guns, thinking about how a bigger target was easier to hit. Apple was looking at her with clear envy while looking down on her own petite figure since she tried to shape-shift into the tall busty woman but somehow couldn't since taking the forms of others was her thing. Itachi meanwhile was just gushing on about her outfit as well as the others like Samui, Raizetsu and Shizuka while feeling a bit jealous since she had to get her clothes custom made because of her height and body type. And finally, Minato could only blush since her extreme side allowed her to see every inch of Hachishiku's body, from her soft curvy hip and toned thighs to her massive K-cups staining against her outfit before staring down at her own body as a sad expression appeared on her face, making her wish she was born as a cyclops instead. "Now Mr. Uzumaki, I'm just here on business," Smith stated, simply causing the husband and wife's eyes to narrow. "And what kind of business would that be?" the blonde asked, narrowing his eyes further as he tried to see what her game is. "Well, seeing that you seem to be missing a few action. They're now in the exchange program, they're members of our family," Naruto bluntly stated while glaring at the agent. "As for missing, they aren't. They're just getting some more supplies for the restaurant and will be back by the end of the week," he stated before walking back toward the kitchen. "Before we leave, you may want to sign this," Minato said before taking out a chipboard with a piece of paper on it. "And what may this be, Monai-san?" Hachishiku asked suspiciously before grabbing the clipboard as she began reading the contents on the paper. "Just a contract asking you if you would like to cater the interspecies carnival this weekend," Minako said with a blight smile on her face. Yeah, because these dangos, rice balls and dumplings are delicious," Tio exclaimed cheerily, her mouth covered with rice and dumpling sauce. "I hope you were planning to pay for those, since I don't want to deal with a second Smith," Naruto said while the other three members burst out laughing, except Tio who blushed in embarrassment before taking out her wallet to pay for the food she ate, and Smith who just grumbled since her name was now an inside joke. "Konoha's underground prison. Hey. Who or what? Quick, call the Hokage." Sounds of screams and cries of pain echoed through the hall outside of the person's cell who looked at her cell door with interest. Now can the funking hell is causing all those shitheads to cry like they underdeveloped beeps were ripped off? The person asked themselves, wiping a strand of their dirty pinkish red hair from their face. Next thing that caused her to step back in shock as her cell door was torn right off its hinges, showing a creature that oddly reminded her of someone. "It's sure been a while, Tayuya-chan," the creature said in a female voice before adjusting her glasses and stepped forward into the dimly lit cell showing her face. "Karen?" The newly identified Tayuya gasped in shock as she saw former friend and secret girlfriend. MON headquarters, 9:25 p.m. Sitting in her office, Smith was going over some files for some of the more aggressive and dangerous monsters in the program. "Soon, those two will regret banning me from their restaurant and turning me into a joke," Smith thought bitterly since she planned this for a few years now before looking over at the paper that both Naruto and Hachishiku signed. While there was a carnival happening this weekend, Smith was able to get Minako to get her to mend a contract for the carnival and sign-up sheet to partake in the cultural exchange program so she can get some payback at the owners. Revenge is a dish best served by a few aggressive participants. She chuckled to herself before taking a sip of her coffee, only to quickly spit it back out. "Brah, the coffee here really sucks," Smith said in disgust before going back to work. Tayuya was completely speechless seeing Karen after all these years of being looked up since the failed mission 10 years ago. "I knew her looks would change over time, but I didn't know she would change this much." The last member of the sound forethought with her face covered with a deep heavy blush, taking in Karen's appearance. Karen Uzumaki is a 23-year-old woman standing at 5 ft 6 inches in height with straight spiky red hair, crimson color eyes, wearing a pair of purple goggles, while her ears are pointy and her skin being a pale pinkish color with small curved horns sticking out from the sides of her head, demonic fairy wings on her back, and a long thin whip-like tail, with a small heart-shaped tip in the end. Her body has a slim muscular tone with large pair of perky G-cup wrists, slim waist with a flat-toned stomach, toned curvy hips and long smooth legs. Her outfit consists of a short black sleeveless jacket over a mesh shirt, fingerless battle gloves, a black skirt reaching the top of her knees and 3-inch heel sandals. "Hey Tayuya-chan, we're here to break you out," Karen said before grabbing the pinkish red hair woman by her arm, pulling her out of the cell to see the dead guards, along with 4 other women. The first woman looks to be 21 years old, standing at 5 ft 7 inches in height with short brown hair and a bob style, cyan color eyes and brown color skin. Her body has a muscular feminine built with large E-cup wrists, slim waist with a visible toned six-pack abs, toned curvy hips and long lean toned legs. Her outfit consists of a sleeveless dark blue top, staining against her ample chest while leaving her stomach bare, dark blue bands around her biceps and wrists, blue skin-tight pants, black boots and a white jacket tied around her waist. The second woman looks to be around 29 years old, being 5 ft 6 inches in height with long blonde hair with flame blue streaks in it, blue eyes with cat slit pupils, blonde cat ears with blue tips, flaming blue cat-like hands and feet, with fur reaching up to her elbows and knees, and 2 flame blue cat tails sprouting from her tailbone with flaming tips at the end. Her only outfit seems to be a light oversized coat concealing her entire body, only showing her arms and legs. The third woman was what got Tayuya's attention because of her appearance. She looked to be around 23 years of age, being 5 ft 4 inches in height with long brown hair, pointed ears, horns sticking out from the sides of her head, pale white skin, razor-like wings coming out from her lower back, and a whip-like tail coming from her tailbone. Her figure is a slim Hercules with ample G-cup wrists, slim waist with a flat stomach, smooth curvy hips and a cute ass. Her outfit looked to be a simple kimono with the top open to reveal some of her cleavage and brown sandals. Finally, the fourth and last woman looks to be 23 years old, standing at 5 ft 2 inches in height with short mint green hair, orange color eyes and tan skin. Her figure seems to be more petite and almost childlike. Her outfit consists of a white sleeveless top and short skirt over a mesh top and shorts, white cloth bands around her arms reach between her wrists and biceps, and purple sandals. "Karen, what the shit happens to you and who the hell are these women?" Tayuya asked in her own brash way before seeing the Uzumaki woman looking at her. "Oh, well, to answer your first question, let's just say I met my distant cousin and his wife who transformed and gave me the abilities of a demonic pixie," Karen said, her wings hovering up as she twirled around a bit, showing off her new body to her girlfriend before stopping. "And for your second question, ladies, please introduce yourselves," she added as the 4 women introduced themselves. Another. "I'm Kori Uzumaki and I'm an Undine, nice to meet you," the tallest woman of the group said, her right arm turning into water as she shook Tayuya's hand with the clear watery limb, before returning back towards Korra as the water became flesh and bone again. "My name is Yujiro Nai, former Kunoichi of Kumo and now pet Bakaneko of the Uzumaki family," the blonde and flame blue catwoman said with a calm expression on her face. "My name is Yakumo Uzumaki, formerly Kurama, and as you can see, I'm a succubus," the brown hair pale skin woman said while waving her hand towards her. "And my name's Fu Uzumaki, former Kunoichi of Taki and demonic beetle. Nice to meet you, new friend," the shortest of the women exclaimed excitedly as she shook Tayuya up and down while buzzing happily until Korra restrained her with water tentacles to separate the two, while Fu pouted as Tayuya tried to recover from her dizziness. Reaching into one of the coat pockets Yujiro was wearing, Karen pulled out a syringe full of demonic energy given from their mistress Hachisaku. "Okay, Tayu-chan, time to remove that snake once and for all," the red hair pixie thought as she removed some of Tayuya's hair from the back of her neck, showing her cursed mark, and stuck the needle into the center as she empties the syringe of yokai energy into her system. G G G G G G G G G G R R R R R R R R. Tayuya groaned in pain as her body was heavily sweating as the yokai in her system spread throughout her entire body as she was enveloped in an energy like cocoon as her transformation began. Curved horns sprouted from the sides of her head as her skin turned dark brown. Her muscles and bones strengthened to replace all the lost nutrients of being locked up for a decade. Ryaiur. Tayuya released a demonic roar as the yokai cocoon dispersed, showing the transformed Odo Kunoichi. Tayuya's height grew a bit, making her 5 ft 7 inches now. Her pinkish red hair was now wild looking with curved horns on her head, dark brown skin, demonic bat wings sprouting from her back, and a tail sprouting from her tailbone. Her body was completely naked now, since her transformation destroyed the prisoner garb she was wearing, showing that she gained a light muscular build as her figure was fuller with full perky eye cup wrists, slim toned waist with a light six-pack abs, full toned hips and a matching ass. Looking at her girlfriend's new body, Karen couldn't help but lick her lips with a deep blush on her face, before seeing Tayuya cough up a small white snake with yellow eyes, before crushing the snake's head with her foot. My, what a sexy and powerful succubus you've become, Tayu-chan," Karen said huskily as she was pinned up against the wall by her wrist, while her transformed girlfriend looked at her with deep lust in her eyes, with a fanged grin on her face. "You're not so bad looking yourself, pixie slut, I could just take you right here right now," Tayuya growled lustfully, grinding her naked core against the Uzumaki's, causing her to moan until a pair of water tentacles separated them. "You two can make out on the ship ride home. Now let's get out of here before more of those goons show up," Korra said before taking out a teleportation seal to take them back to Nami as the group disappeared in a flash of light as Anbu guards showed up to the massacre 15 minutes later. Uzumaki House, 4 days later. A few days passed as Karen, Korra, Fu, Yakumo, and Yujiro returned from the elemental nation with the supplies for the restaurant as well as their new resident as Naruto and Hachisaku decided to reward them for their secondary mission. Lemon scene happened. City's Park, the next day. Thank you for choosing the Shiro Warapuru for your meal. Naruto said, handing some dangos to a couple as they walked away. Right now, Naruto along with Amaru and Fu were working the stand for their restaurant while Hachisaku was with their daughters playing some of the games. Excuse me, but are you Naruto Uzumaki? A female voice asked, causing Naruto to look up to see a woman, but not any kind of woman, an orc woman, not the pig kind from Monster Musume, the warrior kind from D&D or Middle-earth. The woman is tall, being 6 ft 7 inches with long dark green hair, emerald green eyes, and light green skin. She has a very muscular build to match either Samui or Shizuka's body type, large firm J-cup wrists, a slim waist with a toned six-pack abs, curvy toned hips and a tight ass. Her outfit seems to be a black suit with 2 buttons undone, showing some cleavage and skirt reaching her knees and black heels. In her hands looks to be a lawyer briefcase which she set on the counter. Yes, that would be me. How can I help you? Naruto trailed off as the female orc introduced herself. Walters, Jennifer Walters from New York, sir. And I'll be living with you and your family from now on. She said before handing Naruto the paper for the cultural exchange program with both his and his wife's signature on it. Wait, what? Hachisaku exclaimed, walking towards the two with their daughters holding either snacks or prizes they won before taking the paper out of Naruto's hands, reading it over as her face became red with rage. Smeet. Hachisaku yelled out, causing her eldest daughter Tiko to sweat under the amount of kai she was releasing, while Sadako and Kayako hid behind their father since they hadn't seen their mother this mad since several missing nins crashed their parents' second anniversary when they were still in the nations. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Age? 24. Height? 6 ft 4 inches. Hair color? Sun-kissed blonde. Eye color? Blue. Race? Human. Likes? His family, ramen, gardening, cooking, and being a father. Dislikes? Traitors, Team 7, perverts, people who treat others like they're beneath them, Icha, Smith, and people who threaten his family. Occupation? Konoha Genin, formerly, Shiro Warupuru, owner, head chef, and clan head, both. Dream? Already achieved. Hachisaku Uzumaki. Age? Don't you dare ask me that again. Height? 8 feet. Hair color? Black. Eye color? Blue. Race? Yokai. BWH. 150k-98 to 144. Likes? Her family, killing people who hurt her family, turning women into yokai servants, having fun with her husband, cooking, and being a mother. Dislikes? Monks, Konoha for how they treated her husband, perverts, okay when it's only Naruto and their servants having serious bonding time. Icha, Smith, and those who threaten her family. Occupation? KILLER only if the person hurt her family first, Shiro Warupuru, owner, manager, co-chef, and co-clan Heat Uzumaki. Dream? To burn Konoha to the ground and help her husband revive his clans. Hiko Uzumaki. Age 19. Height? 5 ft 5 inches. Hair color? Black. Eye color? Blue. Race? Yokai human. BWH. 65e-47 to 63. Likes? Her family, Kira, sharp tools used for slicing and cutting, asking if she's pretty, working with her parents, torturing those who hurt her family, her shears and trench coat, and being an older sister. Dislikes? Konoha, shallow people who think looks are everything, Smith, people who hurt her family, and being jealous of her mother's figure. Occupation? Shiro Warupuru, cook, and clan Heress Uzumaki. Dream? To be like her mother and destroy Konoha. Sadako Uzumaki. Age? 13. Height? 5 ft 2 inches. Hair color? Black with blonde streaks. Eye color? Blue. Race? Yokai human. BWH. 55b-45 to 53. Likes? Her family, Yujito and Yuruchi, coming out of TV screens, swimming, pranks, classic movies, and scaring people with her surprise appearances. Dislikes? Konoha, people with no respect for VHS or classic films, people who threaten her family, being jealous of her mother's figure, and getting stuck inside small dark places. Occupation? Shiro Warupuru server, and Heress Uzumaki. Dream? To conquer her predecessor's fear of the ocean and kill priests who were like her predecessor's father. Heiako Uzumaki. Age? 13. Height? 5 ft 2 inches. Hair color? Black with red streaks. Eye color? Blue. Race? Yokai human. BWH. 55b-45 to 53. Likes? Her family, Yoga, Yujito and Yuruchi, scaring people with her surprise appearances and singing. Dislikes? Abusive relationship partners, being woke up from her sleep, Konoha, being jealous of her mother's figure, missing keynotes of her singing, and people who threaten her family. Occupation. Shiro Warupuru server and Heirs Uzumaki. Dream. To fulfill her predecessor's desire for a happy relationship. Kira. Age. 30. Height. 6 ft 10 inches. Hair color. Light gray. Eye color. Yellow. Race. Yokai Shinaramiya. BWH. 112 I-83 to 107. Likes. Her master and mistress, blood and flesh, killing people who dare attack her master, and being the dominate pet of the household. Dislikes. Konoha, Orochimaru, bad-tasting blood, and Danzo and his root dogs. Occupations. Family pet and guard snake. Dream. To kill her father and bear her master's eggs. Sasam Fuma Uzumaki. Age. 24. Height. 5 ft 9 inches. Hair color. Light orange. Eye color. Dark purple. Race. Yokai Avian Tengu. BWH. 84 F-66 to 80. Likes. Being sneaky, bonding with her master, mistress and sister mates, flying and exercising, pickpocketing, and massages. Dislikes. Orochimaru, Fuma clan members who sided with the snake, her feathers getting messed up, and her bonding time with Naruto being interrupted. Occupations. Fuma clan formerly, THIEF formerly, Shiro Warupuru server partner, and family servant concubine. Dream. To start a whole new Fuma clan with Naruto. Amaru Uzumaki. Age. 25. Height. 5 ft 4 inches. Hair color. Reddish brown. Eye color. Blue. Race. Yokai Papillon. BWH. 74 E-58 to 77. Likes. Studying medicine, bonding with her master, mistress and sister mates. Dislikes. Being used by her former teacher, being alone, Icha and the perverts who read it. Occupations. Shiro Warupuru server waitress and family medic concubine. Dream. To become a great medical expert and to start her own family. Isaribi Uzumaki. Age. 26. Height. 5 ft 10 inches. Hair color. Purple. Eye color. Black. Race. Yokai Kaima. BWH. 86 G-65 to 82. Likes. Fishing, swimming, diving, bonding with her master mistress and sister mates, sunbathing, and massages. Dislikes. Orochimaru, people who mistreat others for being looking different, scientists who lie about helping people, getting caught in ghost nets, and people who pollute the sea. Occupations. Shiro Warupuru waitress bouncer and family servant concubine. Dream. To catch the biggest fishes in the world. Raizetsu Uzumaki. Age. 28. Height. 6 ft 5 inches. Hair color. White. Eye color. Gray. Race. Ryujin. BWH. 105 H-78 to 98. Likes. Studying healing methods, bonding with her master, mistress and sister mates, loyalty, gardening, and romantic novels. Dislikes. Disloyalty, people who used others for their own gain, prison, people who hurt her family, and Icha. Occupations. Kusa Kunoichi, formerly, Shiro Warupuru server partner and family medic servant concubine. Dream. Unknown. Shizuka Uzumaki. Age. 25. Height. 6 ft 10 inches. Hair color. Black. Eye color. Green. Race. Amazon succubus. BWH. 124 I-85 to 117. Likes. Exercising, bonding with her master, mistress and sister mates, teaching Tiko, Sadako and Kayako anti-pervert techniques, and romance novels. Dislikes. Icha, her village's marriage laws, perverts who only like a woman for her body, fangirls, and having her Naruto time interrupted. Occupations. Nadeshiko Konoichi formerly, Naruto's second WIFE Uzumaki, Shiro Warupuru bouncer security, and family nanny servant concubine. Dream. To change her old village's laws and start a family. Samu Uzumaki. Age. 29. Height. 6 ft 10 inches. Hair color. Blonde. Eye color. Blue. Race. Yokai Blue Oni. BWH. 130 J-88 to 118. Likes. Massages, bonding with her master, cool events, mistress and sister mates, calm atmosphere, exercising, and sake. Dislikes. Her shoulders hurting, people staring at her freests, uncool events, fangirls, hot-headed attitudes, bad rapping, Icha, and being called cow tits. Occupations. Kumo Konoichi formerly, Shiro Warupuru server partner and family servant concubine. Dream. Unknown. Kurama. Age. Centuries old but look 29. Height. 5 ft 9 inches. Hair color. Red-orange. Eye color. Crimson. Race. Yokai, Kitsune 9 tails. BWH. 125 I-84 to 120. Likes. Forest dens, baby kits, napping, being dominated by her master and mistress, ear scratches, and having her tails brushed. Dislikes. Konoha, being sealed, having her power stolen, and having her naps interrupted. Occupations. Ruler of Bujis formerly, and family pet concubine. Dream. To burn Konoha for imprisoning her in the first place. Uruchi. Age. 28. Height. 5 ft 4 inches. Hair color. Blackish purple. Eye color. Gold. Race. Yokai Nico. BWH. 98H-76 to 95. Likes. Tiko, Sadako and Kayako, massages, bonding with her master, mistress and sister mates, being a naughty kitty for her owners, and sword fighting. Dislikes. Being woken from her sleep, people who hurt her threaten Sadako and Kayako, dogs, and others questioning her kinks. Occupations. Family pet concubine. Dream. To watch Tiko, Sadako and Kayako grow up and bear her master's kittens. Parent Uzumaki. Age. 23. Height. 5 ft 6 inches normal, size, to 2 ft pixie size. Hair color. Red. Eye color. Crimson. Race. Demonic pixie. BWH. 88G-64 to 83 normal, size, to 48G-34 to 43 pixie size. Likes. Her cousin and his family, Tayuya, studying medicine, bonding time with Naruto and Tayuya, music and romance novels. Dislikes. Kusa, Odo, Orochimaru, Tayuya getting hurt, Icha, fangirls, and losing her glasses. Occupations. Kusodo Koonoichi formerly, and family head medic concubine. Dream. To marry Tayuya and help Naruto revive their CLA and Uzumaki. Hori Uzumaki. Age. 21. Height. 5 ft 7 inches normal size, 2, depends on the amount of water she absorbs. Hair color. BROWN human WATER Undine. Eye color. Cyan. Race. Undine. BWH. 77E-48 to 73 normal size, 2, depends on the amount of water she absorbs. Likes. Exercising, MMA, teaching Tiko, Sadako and Kayako how to defend themselves, being in water, bonding with her master, mistress and sister mates, and seafood. Dislikes. Arrogant jerks, hot days that cause her to evaporate and shrink, people attacking her friends and family, and having to wait for something to be done. Occupations. Shiro Warupuru cook waitress and family security concubine. Dream. To become a professional MMA fighter. Vegito Nai. Age. 29. Height. 5 ft 6 inches. Hair color. Blonde with flame blue streaks. Eye color. Blue. Race. Bakaneko. BWH. 84H-57 to 86. Likes. Tiko, Sadako and Kayako, fish, bonding with her master, mistress and sister mates, being petted, burning perverts alive, and cuddling with Tiko. Dislikes. Icha, fangirls, waking up stiff, entering her heat at the worst times, and bad rapping. Occupations. Kumo Koonoichi formerly, and family pet concubine. Dream. To burn the author of Icha to death. Ikumo Kurama Uzumaki. Age. 23. Height. 5 ft 4 inches. Hair color. Brown. Eye color. Brown. Race. Succubus. BWH. 86G-53 to 84. Likes. Painting, practicing illusions, gardening, bonding with her master, mistress and sister mates, and trapping people who threatens her family and her illusions. Dislikes. Her former clan, Kuranai Konoha, being seen as weak or frail, being alone, and having her paintings ruined. Occupations. Kurama clan HEIRESS formerly, Shiro Warupuru waitress server and family servant concubine. Dream. To kill Kuranai for what she did and start a whole new Kurama clan with Naruto. Uzumaki. Age. 23. Height. 5 ft 2 inches human, form, to 6 ft 2 inches beetle form. Hair color. Mint green. Eye color. Orange. Race. Demonic beetle. BWH. 54A43 to 52 human, form, to 88G-56 to 83 beetle form. Likes. Making friends and meeting new people, honey, bonding with her master, mistress and sister mates, positive energy, being outside, exercising, and buzzing. Dislikes. Taki, being alone, people who hate others for no reason, negative energy, getting stuck in honey, and fangirls. Occupations. Taki Koonoi formerly, Shiro Warupuru waitress bartender, and family servant concubine. Dream? Unknown. Smith. Hachisaku yelled demonically, kicking down the door to said woman's office as the stomped her way with a dark aura surrounding her as the unfortunate security guards became victims of her unforgiving rage. Shouldn't you do something? Jennifer asked watching from behind the destroyed doorframe. No, when mother starts raging, it's better to let her break a few things. Tiko said flatly, her little sisters nodding in agreement while the orc woman looked at the twitching bodies of the security guards. You know Smith had this coming. Naruto said, crossing his arms while following his wife's path of destruction. Smith pulled a lot of low tricks in the past, but clearly crossed the line. He added before ducking to avoid a guard flying over him. You realize with this many physical assaults, your wife will be sent to several years in prison. Jennifer said looking at the family. What are you, a lawyer? Sadako asked walking around the orc, looking her over causing Jennifer to feel nervous from how hard the young Uzumaki eyes stared at her. As a matter of fact, I am. I signed up for the cultural exchange program to further my knowledge for my career as a company lawyer. Jennifer said, a small blush appearing on her green face before straightening her jacket. So, where are you from, Jennifer? Naruto asked, ignoring what sounded like gunshots from down the hall, as well as the screams of pain. As I said before, New York, now should we be worried about what's going on down there? Jennifer said, becoming worried as she heard someone cry out my leg. Before the father and daughter shook their heads. Nah, it would be better for mother to let all of her anger out. Plus, it's also easier on father's sacks from the last time she got this angry. Tiko said before mumbled the last part to herself with her cheek turning a light shade of pink. What was that? Naruto, looking at his eldest daughter, asked confusingly causing her to stammer. Nothing. Tiko quickly exclaimed, lowering her face behind the collar of her coat, trying to cover her blushing face. Damn it, forgot about father's enhanced hearing. She groaned within her head, scolding herself for forgetting that her father's senses were heightened years ago back in the nations. Before anyone could say anything else, Hachisaku came back holding a very beaten doppel tied by her own hair. Apparently, Smith left this one as a decoy to evade my wrath. The 8-feet woman said as she dropped the shapeshifter on the floor. Damn it, Smith, you better make that a 3-week vacation. Doppel groaned, her entire body wrecked with pain, as Smith bribed her with vacation time if she pretended to be her for the day. We have aunts who are healers, if you please direct us to Smith, I'm sure father can get them here right away to heal the damage mother's wrath had caused. Kayako calmly said as she kneeled down to the tied-up Doppel's eye level. Well, since you ask so nicely, Smith said something about heading out of the city with the building team. Doppel said with a grin. How someone so nice came from this bimbo brute I'll never know. She added, motioning towards Hachisaku, as her grin became wider, not noticing Kayako's hair shadowing her eyes. Now since Doppel started before screaming as she felt something wrap tightly around her neck, snapping her eyes open to see Kayako choking her with her own black hair. Shouldn't you two stop her, she's choking this poor girl. Jennifer exclaimed at the family, who doesn't seem to be bothered by the fact their daughter-sister was strangling someone. Oh, don't worry, Kayane just getting Doppel back for calling Ka-san a bimbo. Sadako said, giggling from watching the shapeshifter struggling against her twin's hair grip. Plus, Doppel's a lot older than she looks. Naruto added before looking at his daughter. Okay Kayako, I think she had enough. He said as Kayako puffed her cheeks before retracting her hair from Doppel's neck. Your lucky father asked me to stop, for I would have held tighter and tighter until you were unconscious. Kayako whispered into the naked Loli's ear before getting up and walked toward her family. Ooh why? Pant. I was so close, Doppel softly whispered to herself, her face pouting as she was left hanging, as well as being unable to move her hands to finish. Now why would Smith be out of the city? Tiko asked out loud, placing her hand against her chin as she was thinking. Yeah, there's only a couple places outside the city Smith could. Naruto started before stopping as everyone, besides Jennifer, caught onto his silence. Smith's at our house, isn't she? Hachisaku said, crossing her arms under her massive bust as she glared down at Doppel, causing the shapeshifter to squirm in response. But she wouldn't be crazy enough to actually go to our home, would she? Sadako asked, since she and her twin just started working with the rest of their family, they don't know much about the agent that they all know. Sadako sweetie, we have Smith on the banned for life list for a reason. Hachisaku said, kneeling down as she placed a hand on her shoulder. Why would you ban the agent responsible for the program? Jennifer asked, wondering what Agent Smith did to warrant being banned. Well, besides the multiple counts of dining and dashing, she also committed several counts of paying with fake checks using her fake aliases, pretending to be a health inspector, as well as breaking in after closing to steal the dishes we make for either fundraisers or fun events. Naruto explained to the orc, as well as the twins, the reasons why Smith was banned from their business. Let not forget about all the times she tried to blackmail our family by claiming that our aunts were part of this exchange program when we all moved here together years ago. Tiko added before smirking as she recalled all the hounds she neutered when they were getting two hands on her aunts, as well as the one her mother snapped his neck after accidentally groping her rear. We need to head home, now. Darling, flash us there at double speed. Hachisaku said looking at her husband as he gave her a nod before creating a hand sign. Hope you had a light lunch. Tiko said looking towards Jennifer who gave her a questioning look. What do you Jennifer began before everyone disappeared in a flash of light leaving towards their home. Wait, what about those healers you promised? Doppel yelled out but only got silent as her answer. Sighing, she began caterpillar crawling her way towards the infirmary. Uzumaki home. In a flash of light, the Uzumaki family +1 appeared in the front yard in front of a bunch of beaten-up construction workers, as well as Kira, Yujito, Kurama, and Yuruchi held in cuffs and muzzles, before Jennifer ran towards a nearby bush and began throwing up. You could have warned me before you did whatever that was. Jennifer yelled out before returning back to the bush. Hello family, you arrive early since we still didn't get to remodel. Smith, dressed as a construction worker, said as she took a sip from her coffee as she was sitting on top a pile of wooden boards. You had some nerve Smith, as we already said before we want nothing to do with your program. Naruto said glaring at the agent while Tiko gave Jennifer something to ease her stomach. Oh really? Well, this contract with both of your signatures says otherwise. Smith replied playfully, taking out said contract with a smirk on her face. Why? Hachisaku exclaimed, snatching the contract from the agent's hand, her eyes glaring at the paper as she read over it. How did you get our signatures since we didn't sign anything besides Naruto started before trailing off as he and Hachisaku remembered signing that form to cater at today's carnival. That was a cheap trick Smith, and you know it. He yelled at the agent, glaring hard at her, only for her hand to start making a shooing motion. Oh, this was just the bowl of the revenge sundae. Smith began, her lips smirking as she took from a fresh cup of coffee that came out of nowhere. Plus, I thought giving you Ms. Walter here as a gift of good faith since, from looking at your extended family members, that you the very well-endowed types. She added winking behind her glasses. Wait, what? Jennifer yelled, fully recovered from her motion sickness, standing next to the couple. You see, I'm planning about making human and monster intimate relationships legal. And to do that, each participant will have to marry their charges. However, if neither of the other consent or if intimacy is forced, well Smith started before trailing off as her smirk turned into a full triumphed grin. This you can't do that. Jennifer yelled, pointing at the deadbeat agent. If you think I'm marrying this guy, then you're crazier than my cousin whenever he plays drums. She added before looking towards the blonde man. And no offense, but you aren't exactly my type since I'm looking for a real man. She said crossing her arms over her chest. Hey. Naru-sama is a god among men. Kira hissed, glaring at the orc woman for dare insulting her mastermate. Yeah, Naruto-kun is so manly, minotaurs are ashamed of themselves for not being as equipped as him. Yujito added, her tails literally started to be lit on fire from her rage. Plus, with his massive amount of stamina, he could have fathered dozens of children already if Hachi-sama gave them permission to become impregnate by Master's seed. Yuruchi said lustfully, sending Hachisaku a begging look with her eyes, before the 8-feet woman raised her hand with an expression on her face that said, we'll talk about that later. Why, I bet the kid will have you screaming and begging for more within the first half hour. Kurama added with a fox-like grin, her tail wagging excitedly. What are you ever talking about? Jennifer exclaimed, her face blushing so bright that it caused a certain heiress to sneeze. Can we all focus here? Also, can't you four not think of anything other than fex? Naruto said, narrowing his eyes at the pets with embarrassed blush on his face. Nope. The four of them exclaimed, huge grins on their faces as nobody noticed the nosebleed on Smith's face. Now then, with Mr. Uzumaki's fex life out of the way, you have no choice but to comply with the rules of our program. And since these four knocked out my entire construction team, building Ms. Walter's room will have to be on hold until I can find another team. Smith said as several MON transport vehicles pulled up as the drivers came out and gathered the unconscious workers. Don't look so pleased Smith, you're not getting away from this unpunished. Hachisaku said with narrowed eyes. I'd like to see you try, but until then, why don't you show your first charge her new home? Smith said before climbing into one of the transports as all of them drove away. I don't like this. Naruto said crossing his arms before removing the cuffs and muzzles off of the Shinaramiya, Kitsune, and Nikos before getting dog piled on by them. Tiko, why don't you take your sisters and Jennifer back to the carnival while me and your father discuss what happened here today? Hachisaku said to her eldest before grabbing her husband and heading inside with the family pets following. Okay everyone, I'm in charge since mother and father will be busy for the next several hours. Tiko said before flashing them back to the park to enjoy the rest of the carnival. Uzumaki master bedroom. Lemon scene happened. I'd say about 24 clones. 12 plus you for me, and 3 each for the pets. Hachisaku said flexily as she motioned Kira, Yujito, Yoruchi, and Kurama to come in the bedroom. Okay, 24 clones coming up. Naruto said, creating said number of clones all with hardened members as all 5 women licked their lips hungry. This will be good. Hachisaku said as they spent the next several hours going at it like, literally, animals in heat as screams, growls, groans, and moans echoed around the empty house, completely unaware of several recording devices planted around the house. Smith's office. Phrase 1 of revenge plan complete, now for phrase 2. Smith said to herself with a smirk as she looked through the files of several exchange species. Now which one should I send to them first? She added slyly, looking over each possible species that she could send to the Uzumaki family's lives. Taking a quick sip of her coffee, she quickly spit it out gagging in disgust. Okay, why does this taste like sand? She complains be hearing a happy cheer from somewhere as a beaten doppel finally made to the infirmary. Too bad for her the regular doctors weren't there as a sign on the door said out to lunch as they wouldn't be back for a while. Okay everyone, as much as I know some of you will hate this, but Smith has made us take part of her cultural exchange program. Naruto explained to the whole household as many of them began yelling in protest. That bitch. This is low, even for Smith. I just got reunited with Pixie here, and now another bitch none of us even know will be living here. I'm standing right here you know. Jennifer yelled while glaring at Tayuya with her arms crossed. I know you big green bimbo, at least you are attractive unlike those spandex wearing idiots, am I right babe? The succubus said holding Karen closer to her busty figure. Yeah, why should we have to put up with Smith's program when we didn't want to be part of it in the first place? The demonic pixie argued since she just gotten her girlfriend out of Konoha prison as well from the snake bastard's control. Look I know we all want to make Smith pay for tricking us. Hachisaku started before getting cries of agreements from everyone. But we should at least give this program a try. Even if we won't like it. She added before crossing her arms since she and Naruto both know this is Smith's revenge for banning her. But where is she going to sleep since her arrival was very short noticed which is uncool. Samui said in a monotone voice, since it was her turn for Naru time and Hachisaku gave her permission to turn off her pregnancy seal. Well seeing as almost everyone has roommates, we figured it would be a good idea if Jennifer bunked with you and Raizetsu until we can get a room ready. Naruto explained causing both Blue Oni and Ryujin to widen their eyes. Oh, this is extremely uncool. Samui growled crossing her arms under her massive wrists, making them look bigger, as she glared coldly at the orc woman causing her to flinch since her night was just ruined. Samui and Raizetsu's bedroom. Looking around the room Jennifer couldn't help but whistle at how spacious the bedroom was. Wow, high ceilings, a lot of legroom, and nice decorations. I got to say this room is way better than my old apartment. Jennifer said looking around seeing the bookcase full of medical books and a small flower by the window with different herbs, a large futon, a single bed big enough for her cousin to lay in with a rack of weapons on the wall. Wait what? Why is there a weapons rack on the wall? Jennifer asked wondering why there were weapons here in the first place. She can see swords of different length, a spear, a couple of clubs, and even a large pike. Those would be mine. Samui said in a monotone voice as she narrowed her eyes at the orc woman. What are you thinking? You can't have weapons in the house with children living here. Jennifer argued revering to the 3 girls she met this morning. Plus, do you even have a permit for these? She added since this looked like several violations for home safety. Oh please, Tiko had been using a pair of shears since she learned to walk. Raizetsu plainly said remembering how the eldest daughter decapitated the warden back when she was still a prisoner back in Kusa, causing their current roommate to widen her eyes in shock. You gave a dangerously sharp weapon to a toddler, Jennifer screamed before hearing something pounding against the wall drawing their attention. Hey. If you 3 bimbos are going to argue the whole night at least put up your silencing seals. Tayuya's voice yelled from the other side as she was getting very angry since her fex time was being ruined. Sorry Tayuya, we didn't mean to ruin your and Karen's activity together. Raizetsu apologized before the orc woman started talking again. Wait, shouldn't we at least get to know each other? Tayuya was it, what are your favorite hobbies? Jennifer asked trying to break the ice. Well, my favorite hobby would be spending time with my girlfriend who I haven't seen in 10 funking years because I was in a shithole prison in a shithole village, so shut the funk up so I can get back to funking my fexy pixie slut. The succubus yelled angrily through the wall. Yeah, we've been apart for a decade, so shut the funk up so we can make up lost fex time. Karen yelled in the same angrily tone as Tayuya before returning back to what they were doing. Okay, well that was interesting, Jennifer said unsurely, as she doesn't know why she was even assigned with this family in the first place. Anyway, we better get ready for bed. Raizetsu yawned as she and Samui took off their uniforms before removing their underwear, leaving both of them naked. WW, what are you two doing? Jennifer exclaimed, blushing in embarrassment, seeing both Oni and Ryujin's naked bodies, as both of them stretched, showing off their tightly toned muscles and large assets. We're going to the bathhouse to relax before hitting the sack. Raizetsu said as she and Samui grabbed some towels before putting on their robes. You can join if you want and get to know some of the girls here. Samui said as she tied her belt before staring back at the orc with blank cold eyes. Well I would, but I should unpack and getting ready for bed. Jennifer stuttered while trying to avoid staring at the Oni's massive cleavage. Her freaks are bigger than mine, she thought as both her current roommates left to the bathhouse. Falling down onto the futon, the orc woman reached into her suit pocket and pulled out her phone before dialing a number as it rung before someone answered it. Hello, Agent Smith's assistant here, may I take a message? A female voice in a fake different voice said as the orc rolled her eyes, since she doesn't have time for this. Ms. Smith, I'm calling to file several complaints about this household and would respectfully request to be transferred to a different one. Jennifer asks since she feels like the system made a mistake placing her with this family. Request denied. Smith said as she chuckled as the orc woman widened her eyes. Denied? Why? As handler of this program, you are to make sure that each participants are properly assigned to their host families, and it looks to me that you've placed me with was a mistake. She stated before hearing the lazy agent chuckling on the other end. Sorry darling, but there were no mistakes as this is your host family. Smith said with a smug grin, but since she was in her office it was hard to tell. Of course, if you want to leave then I will gladly charge you for the ship ticket and cab ride that was provided for your trip here all the way from America, as well the fee that was used to help pay for this job experience, she added, causing the lawyer to widen her eyes even more. You can't do that. Government agent or not, you still need to follow rules and registrations, and I'm requesting to be transferred now. Jennifer demanded as her temper was rising, judging from how much her muscles were flexing under her suit. No can do, for you've signed a contract meaning that you would agree to the arrangements we've made for you, or risk being deported. So better started learning to get along with your host family, because there's no changing that. Bye and have a good night since you'll be needing it, darling, Smith said teasingly before hanging up. Damn it, Smith. I'll make you pay for this if it's the last thing I do. Jennifer growled as she crushed the phone into pieces as she unconsciously used her strength before opening her palm, showing the destroyed phone. Shit, now again. She sighed as she realized she destroyed another phone before taking off her suit and changing into her pajamas, since she just want to sleep this day away. Uzumaki family bathhouse. Hachisaku along with her eldest daughter Tiko relaxed in the steaming water after putting the twins down for bed, while Naruto had to leave with Fu and Shizuka to pick up Jennifer's stuff. Having to deal with Smith's program is a headache. Hachisaku sighed as she let the warm water ease her growing frustration. I know mother, I just wish this didn't happen since I wanted to spend this summer with you, father, Sadako, and Kayako. Tiko grumbled as she sunk herself lower into the water just as Samui and Raizetsu came in. Hachisaku smiled seeing her two most loyal servants before motioning them to come in. Hey, you two, how are things going with the current roommate? She asked as both Oni and Ryujin entered the bath. Besides ruining both mine and Tayuya's night, my thoughts are uncool. Samui plainly said while crossing her arms. And Karen and Tayuya were having a moment again. Tiko asked since she wished to spend more time with her family and school friends before leaving at the end of the season. Yes, since they want to make up for lost time. Raizetsu sighed as she relaxed before looking over to her 8 feet mistress. But you're taking this very well, mistress, since the last time someone tried forcing something on either you, master, or your daughters, you would have torn them in pieces. She added, causing the Uzumaki matriarch to sigh. Normally I would, but I don't want to stress myself for important reasons. Hachisaku said before standing up as water dripped down her body before tenderly rubbing stomach, which has a small but noticeable bump, causing the 3 yokai women to widen their eyes before smiles appear on their faces. Congratulations, mistress, this must be a very cool moment, but those master know. Samui asked, happy that her mistress will be bringing more children into the world. No, since I want to surprise him and everyone else tomorrow, so remember to keep this a secret, so Hachisaku said playfully as she sat back into the water as her eldest child rubbed her hand over her baby bump. What is her name, mother? I'd like to know my newest sister's name before leaving. Tiko asked to know that when she leaves for school, it will be Sadako and Kayako's turn to fill in the role as big sister. You mean sisters since I'm having twins again, and for their names, I'm thinking of Michio and Aoi. She said tenderly with a smile since she's happy that her daughters will be having more sisters to play with. Mistress, will it be okay if my seal be off the next time Naru-sama has us in the bedroom? I'm only asking since tonight was supposed to be Samui's night, but thanks to Smith Raizetsu said respectfully while motioning her eyes towards the blue Oni, who gave her a blank stare. That's very uncool Ryu-chan, very uncool. Samui said plainly as she gave the dragon woman a cold glare. Hachisaku thought about it for a moment before an idea came to her. Sure, and I have the perfect place where both of you can do it too. She said with a wicked grin getting both busty monster women's attention. With Naruto. Outside of the building Jennifer was staying at, Naruto, Fu, and Shizuka were just finishing loading the orc woman's stuff to be taken back home. Okay, that should be the last of it. Naruto said placing the last box containing Jennifer's stuff into the trailer used for the restaurant's catering jobs while Fu and Shizuka got into the truck. For a lawyer, she sure does have a lot of barbells. Fu said while rubbing her aching shoulders since those barbells were heavy. I know, the one time I leave my sealing scrolls at home, it had to be on the same night we had to move heavy objects. Naruto said since moving this stuff would have been done in a few minutes instead of a few hours. I think it's nice that she will be living with us since we do need a lawyer, given how our last one only took the job to get to Hachi-sama. Shizuka added before smiling remembering how her mistress permanently took care of it since it was revealed that the man had a history of doing perverted things with his client's friend through blackmail or other underhanded means. Yeah, but I still have the feeling that whatever Smith's play is, it only just begun. Naruto said as they drove back home with all of Jennifer's stuff but knew whatever Smith has planned won't be anything good. Smith's office. Who to send first? Decisions. Smith hummed as she read through several files before finding not one, but two perfect candidates to send to the Uzumaki household. Two dark elves with deep hatred towards humans. Perfect. She smiled before stamping both files with approved and placing them in the outgoing box. Agent Smith, you have someone here to see you. Her replacement assistant buzzed over the intercom since her usual one is currently in the hospital. Send them in. Smith said as her office door opened as an elderly man walked in. Ah, Mr. Jiraiya I assume. She asked as she crossed her arms and legs as she looked at the man. Yes, that would be me Ms. Smith, I hope that my request to do an interspecies version of my book been thought over. Jiraiya asked as a grin appeared on his face as he eyed the agent's flexy legs. Well, I don't know Smith started since she wants to mess with this guy for a bit. Seeing as we just caught a serious sicko who posed as a journalist to steal shredded lamia skin as well as a harpy's egg to sell on the black market along with video from invading those girls' privacy so she started while motioning her hands in a scale manner, showing she doesn't know what to think. I assure you my research methods aren't anything like that cruel barbarian. The old Sanin reassured her since the person she described was an insult to pervert kind everywhere. Smith continued to think about it before taking a sip of her coffee before recoiling in disgust. This is a fresh batch, yet it tastes ever more bitter than the last batch. She thought before an idea came to her as she smiled sinisterly. How about this, I let you do your book, but only if you agree to donate 30% of future earnings to my program, as well a new state-of-the-arts coffee machine and the finest coffee blends in the world. Wouldn't you say that's fair handsome she said ending with a husky tone as she unbuttoned her suit, showing the top portion of her creamy ample cleavage, before lowering her glasses, giving him the puppy dog eyes more mature cousin, the fexy doe eyes as her finishing move. Jiraiya giggled with a small nosebleed as he made a mental note to add her to his future book before answering. That seems fair to me, but only on one condition. He said getting a raised eyebrow from the agent. And what might that be? Smith asked as she fluttered her eyelashes before leaning forward showing more of her pale mounds. You would have to meet me later to find out. In the meantime, here is the hotel and room I'll be staying at if you want to discuss further business. Jiraiya said before writing his hotel and room number on a piece of paper as he handed it to her. Have a pleasant night, beautiful. He said with a wink before walking towards the door. Thanks, and don't let my foot kick you on the way out. Smith said as she got up from behind her desk getting the Sanin to stop before turning his head. I think you mean don't let the door hit you? He asked as the agent walked towards him. No, I mean my foot. She said as she forcefully kicked him in the butt sending flying out of her office before crossing her arms while chuckling madly. This gets easier every time. She chuckled before closing her doors as she went back to work. With Hachisaku. After a nice relaxing bath, Hachisaku walked into a cave on the beach several yards from the house as she came here, since this is where she keeps her prisoners. Po what to do to you all? The 8 feet woman wondered out loud as she stared at the people she has caged. Normally I would just kill all of you since your villages would never leave my husband alone. So now what to do? She pondered as she crossed her arms in thought while looking over her prisoners. Each cells were divided into group as one cell holds a squad of Iwa Shinobis, along with one Kuritsuchi, granddaughter of the Tsuchikage. Another cell holds a squad of shinobi from Taki, while another holds a squad from Kusa. The next cell holds a squad from Kumo, along with one Mabui who was the secretary of the Raikage. The last cell holds a squad of Odo Shinobis, as well as one Gurin. Ignoring everyone glaring at her from behind the bars, Hachisaku walked further until she was looking up at two single-person cages hanging from the ceiling. Now both of you are the ones who are the hardest, so what should I do with you, priestess and Konoha grunt? She said with venom in her voice as she glared up at the two people within those cages. Both of them were women who looked like long-lost twins with pale eyes and similar hairstyle, but the only differences were their outfits and hair colors, with one having pale blonde hair, while the other has dark blue hair. The blonde gave her a blank emotionless look, while the blutie lowered her head as Hachisaku continued to glare at them. Hachisaku continued to glare at her captured prisoners as she had her long strong arms crossed under her massively inhuman-sized bust. She watched the women held up in cages as her cold blue eyes narrowed as them with bitter distaste as she looked upon them. The blonde she glared at due to her being a priestess, a grand priestess from demon country whose family had the special ability to predict the future, but if Hachisaku wasn't busy glaring hatefully at Shion, she would have noticed the emotionless look on her face, meaning that whatever prediction she saw the reason as well she came here, means that she accepted her fate. Now the blutie she knew very well, Hinata Hyuga heiress of Konoha's Hyuga clan as well former candidate on her theory, since she originally wanted to use the girl she saw when her husband defended her from those bullies and was about to attack the bullies as they ganged up and overpowered the younger Naruto. Only for the younger Hinata to beat her to it as she struck those bullies with her clan's fighting style, hitting pressure points that made them lose bladder control, as well as muscle spasms, making her like the girl, since she got fire as well smile seeing that her then future husband make his first real friend. Only until she noticed the complete 180 Hinata had become after Kumo's failed kidnapping attempt, only to go from that girl who beaten and humiliated those older kids, to being a timid spineless stalker who just watches Naruto got beaten by mobs, only to run away instead of helping him. Now normally she would just kill them and be done with it, but thanks to years of having her Naru-kun besides her as well of all those wonderful moments the two of them shared, she would at least hear them out first. I'll ask a final time, why are the both of you here? Hachisaku growled as her eyes flashed releasing a bit of her kai, which caused her hair to wave around like 10 angry tails, thanks to absorbing that pesty weed zetsu, so now she has some of the Jubi's chakra. Still looking emotionless, Shion got on her knees as she stared right at the menacing 8 feet demoness with her pale lifeless eyes. I have come here due to the vision I had over a year ago. If you allow me to explain my vision, I hope you can understand the very reason why I am here. Shion requested as the tall busty Yakai nodded for to explain, but still kept her eyes cold and glaring, ready to summon her sword if she tries anything. Flashback Demon Country, 1 year ago, Shion's POV. Things were peaceful in my homeland after the assistance of a mysterious Ronin for sealing away a grand demon who swore vengeance after my mother sacrificed herself to seal them away back when I was still little. But it was until after the sealing that the Ronin just left while things started to return to normal sadly. Oh no, it's her. Don't look at her sweetie, or you'll die right on the spot. Maybe if she was never born, then our lives wouldn't be full of fear. Run. It's the cursed priestess. Why couldn't she just die along with that demon? I walk through the streets of my kingdom only for the people who I have saved continued they whispers and sneers as they glared upon me, while many had run or hid in fear at the mere sight of me. This was the same treatment I have endured since I was a child, only to still be seen as a person of fear, since I could predict everyone's death. Even though I could have ended it all, I chose not to for when the Ronin would return. I don't know how it happened, but ever since my last encounter with the Ronin, I have been having these weird visions. It is hard to explain, but these visions were blurry since all of my past vision were clear as the waters of the clearest springs, but that was until the visions started to get weirder. Months after the sealing, the visions would begin to clear, so I could see a strong muscular torso and arms with a large scar over the chest, as well as a very large bed that looked so much bigger than any I have ever seen, and for some strange reason every time I glance at the shadowed figure, my chest would start hurting, and my face would feel all hot suddenly. Then a year later the visions began to feel physical, since I could feel the figure's strong arms wrapped around, while feeling his hands traveling around my body which made me feel nervous, but yet very warm between my legs. And as time gone but my vision began getting powerful all the while my entire being began feeling stranger as they became more what's that word when two people get together on a more physical level. Anyway, the visions made my body yearn for something that I don't even know about until only a few words were spoken through the visions, and they were these very few. Priestess. Loyal. Servant. Demon. Mistress. Ronin. Love. Master. Children. Clan. It was then I realized that the figure I have been seeing within my visions is the Ronin who helped me. I may not understand these feelings, but my latest vision told me that I just had to come see you, Hachisaku-sama. Then flashback, normal Pav. And that is why I am here, Hachisaku-sama, to surrender myself in body and spirit if you would accept me as your servant. Shion Monotony said, lowering her head as the 8 feet Uzumaki head wife looked deep into her lifeless eyes, showing no lie before thinking it over. Now that I think about it, Naru-kun did say he met a woman with a very yakai-like ability. Hachisaku thought, recalling about how every clan bloodlines originated from different kind of yakai and demons, and from how her husband described this priestess's other form, shows that the yakai blood within her is very potent. Placing a hand under her chin, she began thinking this over, wondering what to do. On one hand, she could just kill Shion, since her death would be a huge blow to her enemies, since they'll be losing a powerful priestess whose powers could match her own. But on the other hand, having a priestess as her own personal Slavopit was very tempting, and since this one clearly has demon's blood literally running through her veins, will be an even huger blow to her enemies upon seeing one of their sisters turn to the dark side, as the yakai woman gained a wide sinister grin, having made up her mind. Very well, Shion, I will accept your surrender as both mine and my husband's concubine. But if you dare harm a single hair on either him or my children, I will personally cram you down the Shinigami's stomach, understood? Hachisaku Demon raising her Kai level so high it caused some of the Shinobis she had prisoner to die from severe heart attacks, as Shion, unaffected by her Kai, simply nodded her head, fully accepting her fate since she has nothing left, seeing as her mother is gone and her own people despising her. She really doesn't care about what might happen to her as long as she could be with her Ronin. Seeing that the blonde soon-to-be former priestess barely flinching made her smile even more, since the only others hardly affected by her Kai were her eldest Tiko, Kira, and Samui, before glaring towards Hyuga woman as she made it very clear that Konoha was not taking away her husband. As for you, Hyuga, I thought I made it very clear that Naruto is mine now. Hachisaku sneered, grabbing Hinata by her collar, pulling her hard against the cage with her forehead pressed against the bars. Seeing the blue tea not answering, she was about to kill her before noticing that her hair parted, revealing her forehead as well as a seal glowing. Fine, if you won't talk, then I'll get the answers out of you myself. The 8 feet woman stated, pressing a finger against the seal, channeling her chakra as she entered Hinata's mind. Hinata's mindscape. Once entering the Hyuga's mindscape, Hachisaku looked around to see an all-white corridor and nothing else. Not really much is there. The extremely tall and busty demoness muttered before trekking through the halls of Hinata's mind to get the answers she wants. After what felt like a while, she finally found the door marked memories as she cracked her knuckles before breaking the door down. Now then, let's see how Konoha managed to find us. She said to herself as she looked at the memory from over a couple weeks ago. Standing within the Hokage's office were the former Rookie 9, consisting of Team 8, 10, and Guy, since Team 7 was disbanded due to Naruto's banishment, Sakura's apprenticeship under Tsunade, and Sasuke, running off the Orochimaru during a C-rank mission in Rice country, where he killed his fellow Chunins as well as the client. Standing at attention, everyone looked towards Tsunade as she gave them their assignment. Okay everyone, thanks to Kurenai's skills with Genjutsu, we now know where Naruto been all these years. The busty Senju stated as she pointed at the map of the elemental nations before dragging her finger along the open ocean. Now from what we're able to find out, Naruto will be around this area beyond our lands, meaning we'll be entering unknown territory, so be sure to pack everything you need. She explained before one of the Jonins raised their hands. But Lady Hokage, how can we be certain information is logical enough, since for all we know Naruto wouldn't be there to begin with? She no question, since the possibility of finding land out in the ocean were slim. Yoshino-san, Naruto-san's flames burn so bright there is no way for the vast ocean to extinguish. Lee exclaimed with fire burning in his eyes. And with flames burning so hot the ocean will not be a body of water, but a body of steam from the fire burning within our comrade. He added, pumping his fist in excitement to test his flames of youth against all the possible obstacles the ocean may throw at him. Not, I know some of you have important things to do here, but seeing as all of you knew Naruto well enough, maybe you all could try to reason with him in returning, since the village has reached dire times. Tsunade said, knowing that thanks to the civilian council going behind her back and banishing her godson while she and some of the clan heads were with their kids who were injured during the first retrieval mission, and then the elders had the galls to say in, was for the good of the village, since all they need was just their Uchiha-sama, and no one would mess with them. Even so of us don't even know Naruto that well, since he managed to hide his pain so well. Shikamaru stated since a few years after Naruto's banishment, some allies cut ties with him, so Konoha was really struggling right now due to lack of trades, fewer missions. And even some businesses within the village hoarding money for themselves instead of using it for real important things like supplies, medicines, etc. Plus, how come neither Sakura, Kakashi or Jiraiya-sama aren't coming along? Tenten asked, getting her idol to sigh while pinching the bridge of her nose. Well, for starters, both Sakura and Kakashi are out on different missions, while Jiraiya Tsunade started only to be interrupted. Was busy getting more intel from my sources and you do not believe what I've just learned, Haim. Jiraiya said, entering through the window, getting the last Senju to twitch her eyebrow in annoyance. Seeing enough, Hachisaku cut off the memory as her kai rolled over her entire form. So, they are here, and they plan to take away my husband. No. I'm done giving them warnings, now it's time for action. She growled, clenching her fists tightly, but remembered that she's carrying, so she decided to hit the closest thing, the floor. Kuukleaik. Punching the floor so hard it left a huge smoking crater as well, damaging the room, and was about to leave before spotting something under the broken up floor. Bending down to the floor, Hachisaku noticed that they were chains, sealing chains, causing her to growl, recalling her own grudge with the monks who managed to seal her decades ago. Following the chain trail, Hachisaku was led towards a dead end, getting her to roll her eyes. The old hidden behind a wall trick, how original. She sarcastically said before using her hair to tear the wall right off the corners, revealing what or who behind it. There, chained up against the seal, was Hinata, only she looked like she'd been locked up in a cell for years, as her hair was all messy, her skin even paler, but not as pale as Hachisaku, and her daughter's skin, but still pretty pale, before quickly facing the yokai woman, showing her pale lavender color eyes now looking crazy, before giving her a big toothy grin. Hello Hachi-sama, how have you been? Enjoying Narukun's big fat beep. How many babies have the two of you made together? I'm asking since I can see the little cuties myself. Hinata asked, as her smile never leaving her face, while her eye twitched with irritation. Looking over the chained up Yuka, Hachisaku couldn't help but smile, finally seeing the real Hinata after all these years, Albert seeming to be unhinged, but she liked the crazy ones, since they had that certain drive she liked. Why, I'm doing quite well, and so is my husband, as our nights are filled with such wild pleasure that I am now carrying twin daughters again, as well as 2 other women soon enough. She said, her smile never leaving her face as she tenderly rubbed her small baby bump as well, knowing that by tomorrow night, both Samui and Raizetsu will be carrying their own children as well. You don't say, Hinata trailed in a strained voice, her eyes twitching madly, since she wants to be the first to carry Naruto's baby, since she planned her own future, since she promised her mother she would be a fierce kunoichi like she was before her passing. Ever since she met Naruto, she thought that he was just an orphan and wondered why her mother always helped him, and when she finally asked, all her mother said was only keeping a promise to my fiery teammate, before showing her a picture of a younger her as a genin, along with a younger Makoto Uchiha, and, unknown to her and everyone else, a younger Kushina Uzumaki. Hinata was questioning on why and what made an orphan so special to her mother, until he tried saving her from those bullies, which she thought was sweet, before saving him once getting overpowered, then to pranking a mass of Yuga and Uchiha clan members, bringing a smile to her face, since many of her clan had become arrogant, while she just hated the Uchihas due to clan rivalry. Especially her own rival Sayuki Uchiha, Sasuke's cousin, before the massacre, and a third time saving her when Kumo tried kidnapping her, that she then declared he would become her future husband. Sadly, that's went down the drain when the Hyuga elders decided to punish her for her own kidnapping by branding her with an even stronger version of the caged bird seal, a seal that not only binds you to the elders as well clan head, but also strip you of your whole personality, making you a shell of your former self. Those fossils thought they could get rid of me, but what they don't know is that I've been biding my time, getting stronger until I got out. Yes. Kill them all, make them pay for taking away mommy, as well as my hubby. Hinata chuckled darkly, already thinking of way to take revenge on everyone who not only wronged her, but also her hubby Naru-kun. Hachisaku smiled, seeing as she was very unstable, something she can defiantly use on those Konoha nins. I can free you. She started getting the blue tea's attention. But I'm going to need some, she started, only to get interrupted. Yes. Free me and I'll give you whatever you want. My knowledge on where everyone is at. My body for all your kinky naughty bedroom activities. My soul to twist in any way you pleased. Just free me so I can funk people up and then get funked by Naru-kun and have his babies also. Hinata exclaimed, very Yanderes-like, while struggling against the chains due to years of being locked within your own mind. May had pushed her over the edge some, since she doesn't care about what happens to her, as long as she gets her revenge, as well as the blonde man's seed. With her smile getting wider, Hachisaku walked up to the bounded Hyuga and gently griping her face, since Yandere women makes her feel all hot inside. "Then welcome to the family, my new pet," she said huskily as she brought Hinata into a heated kiss, one that she also returned, as the 8 feet woman channeled her yokai energy into the other woman's mouth, forever binding her to her and her family forever. Outside in the real world. Outside, Hachisaku was heatedly making out with Hinata, still in the cage, getting shocked looks from the other remaining prisoners, except Shion, who was having very confusing feelings, as well some of the other prisoners, who quickly died from massive blood lost via nosebleeds. As the blue tea's entire body became encased in a chakra cocoon before exploding, destroying the cage, as the yokai chakra slowly began to retrieve into her body. "Rise, Hinata Hyuga, rise and bask within the power I have gifted you. No longer are you loyal to that village, now embrace your new life as my pet and slave, because for now on your life will only be about protecting my family from those who wish to harm us," Hachisaku announced, looking down upon the kneeling Kunoichi now turned demon before raising her hand. "Now stand up and show me the new you," she commanded, clenching her hand into a fist as Hinata slowly stood up. Hinata released a loud demonic roar that echoed around the cave as she felt the power her mistress had given her. But the Konoha nins. Everyone was laying low at one of the bars going over what they have discovered, mostly food, clothes, monsters and humans living side by side, before they all suddenly felt a serious chill go down their spines. "The RRRR, is it me, or is anyone else fearing for their manhood?" Kiba asked, since he felt like someone he annoyed will be fixing him, as he desperately covered his junk with Niji, Lee, Sai, and a few others doing the same. "Well, I know you had it coming, but I'm feeling like someone's going to seriously torture me and then kill me," Kurenai said, feeling like a lot of past mistakes were about to catch up to her. Konoha Hyuga clan compound. Sitting within the elder council chamber were the Hyuga elders, as they were having tea before quickly spitting it out on either the table, floor, or on the branch members serving them before killing them with the cage bird seal, thinking that they were trying to poison them, not knowing that their deaths will be much more gruesome as well soon enough. Hachisaku's lair. Hachisaku couldn't help but smile seeing her latest yokai creation as she eyed Hinata's new body. The Hyuga woman was now a rabbit yokai covered with lavender color fur, while her inky blue hair was now a wild fiery looking mane, sharp fangs and claws, and a lean muscular and flexible build combined with a sexy curvy hergless figure. Her height was now 6 ft 4 inches, with some of that height coming from her new powerful rabbit legs, while her figure was on full display with huge firm J-cup wrist, a slim toned waist with a visible set of six-pack abs, and wide hips connected to long and thick powerful legs, while a large fluffy tail sway over her huge toned heart-shaped ass as the blue tea gave a fanged grin, feeling the new power coursing through her. A combination of a rabbit yokai and lion yokai, interesting. Hachisaku must smiling at her newest pet. "Now Hinata, let's test that new form of yours." She started opening the cells before using her hair to grab hold of Guren, Mabui, and Kuritsuchi, pulling them away from the remaining squads, before placing them in 3 single cages, as the yokai woman gave them a very sinister grin. "You 3 have front row seats since your villages had this coming," she said before turning her head to see Hinata quaking with excitement as she stared at the few shinobis and Kunoichis with savage eyes. "Seems that another of my visions had come to pass," Shion said, watching down at them from within her cage, since she foresaw this exact same moment on the way here, as a small smile glazed her lips, since some of these villages were responsible for the death of her Ronin's clan, before having another vision at this moment. "Hinata, these people were going to harm my husband, and we can't have that now, can we?" Hachisaku questioned darkly in a playful tone, getting the former Konoha Kunoichi to shake her head. "No, mistress, Hina kill them. Hina kills those who dare harm Naru-kun." Hinata snarled as she flexed her claws while glaring directly at the Kumo squad, since it was their fault her taking her away from her hubby. Her master. Her mate. "Good, now sick them, girl," Hachisaku commanded with a sadistic grin as the rabbit lion demoness roared before pouncing towards the remaining nins and started tearing them to shreds as the semi-giant woman crossed her arms with a look of approval on her face as she watches her newest pet slashed and maimed those nins. Showing such strength and maneuverability while using her natural flexibility to avoid and nail attacked until sinking her fangs into the last remaining Kumo nin's neck, killing them. Jigrueir. Hinata released a growling roar as she stood tall as her fur was drenched with the blood of the squads as their broken and tore up bodies littered the ground before her long rabbit ears picked up the sounds of clapping. Turning her head, she saw Hachisaku walking towards her. "Good girl Hinata, very good girl indeed," the 8 feet woman said with a smile as she began petting the bunny leoness woman's head, getting her to purr as she nuzzled against her hand, enjoying her mistress's touch. "Now let's get you fitted for a collar, then tell me everything about your mission," she stated before noticing Shion, who had just had a vision. "Mistress, it seems that you and Ronin-sama will be receiving another lover, as well as one for who seems to be your eldest, arriving soon." The blonde soon-to-be former priestess said, getting a look of both annoyance and interest, wondering who they could be. Very well, but before I turn you into a loyal slave, Hachisaku started before opening the cage and pulling the blonde woman into her arms as a grin appeared on her face. I've had some punishment to deliver upon you first, priestess, she finished as she brought the smaller woman into a lust-filled kiss as she held Sean close to her, their fists pressing against each other, while her large hand squeezed her very soft and plump ass, as she can easily tell that these garments were hiding a very full and sexy body underneath. Feelings weird, but I can't stop as this feels really good, Sean thought, since her and Hachisaku's kissing made her feel weird, but a strange and good kind of weird, as she returned the yokai woman's kiss, while blushing from the feeling of her soon-to-be mistress's hands roaming her body. The way the Ronin and the semi-giantess made her feel confused her, since she can already feel her body getting hot before separating, getting her to pant as her face burned red. I'm going to enjoy punishing and molding you into the perfect slave, Sean, Hachisaku huskily said, carrying the priestess to her bedchamber, with Hinata following, leaving three shocked and terrified Kunoichis, fearing about what the yokai woman will do to them. So this part ends here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so quickly like this video for second part of this series. And comment down below your thoughts about this series. And now it's time for me to go, bye.